In the heart of Oak Haven, a trusted car dealership hides a shocking secret, and only one man can uncover the truth: Chuck Norris himself. When whispers of dishonesty threaten Norris Motors, the family legacy of his wife, Sarah, Chuck goes undercover as a bumbling retiree, only to face a bold-faced lie from a cunning salesgirl. What's up, story lovers? Welcome to Story Room by Rico, where we bring you gripping tales that'll keep you hooked. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a story. Also, let us know in the comments section where you are watching from. Buckle up for tale of deception, justice, and redemption that'll leave you stunned. Norris Motors, a cornerstone of Oak Haven's commercial landscape, stood as a proud emblem of family values and honest dealing. For over 2 decades, the dealership, now under the astute management of Sarah Norris, Chuck's wife, had cultivated a reputation for reliability that resonated throughout the community. The showroom, bathed in natural light, exuded a welcoming atmosphere, a stark contrast to the subtle unease that had begun to creep into the daily operations. Whispers of declining customer satisfaction and a noticeable dip in sales figures had become the hushed undercurrent of staff conversations, a disquieting prelude to the storm that was brewing beneath the polished surface. The financing office, tucked away behind a frosted glass door, held a different kind of energy: hushed whispers, the clicking of keyboards, and the occasional sigh of a customer navigating the complexities of loans and interest rates. Here, trust was paramount, yet the pressure to finalize deals often created a breeding ground for subtle manipulations. Even the parts department, usually a realm of nuts and bolts and practical solutions, had begun to reflect the dealership's subtle shift, with upselling of premium, often unnecessary, components becoming more commonplace. The customer waiting area, once a haven of comfortable chairs and complimentary coffee, now echoed with the muted frustrations of delayed service and unresolved issues. Sarah Norris, a dynamic businesswoman in her early 40s, navigated the demanding world of automotive sales with intelligence and unwavering integrity. She possessed an intimate understanding of every facet of Norris Motors, from the gleaming vehicles on the showroom floor to the intricate workings of the service bays. Her leadership style, characterized by fairness and genuine concern for her employees, had fostered a loyal and dedicated team. Yet, recent indicators suggested a deviation from the core principles upon which her father had built the business, a subtle shift towards prioritizing profit margins that troubled Sarah deeply. She had spent countless hours poring over sales reports, scrutinizing customer surveys, and holding one-on-one meetings with her managers, desperately trying to pinpoint the source of the creeping malaise. Was it the increased competition, a broader economic downturn, or was something more insidious at play, something closer to home? A gnawing feeling, a sense of betrayal lurking beneath the surface, kept her awake at night. Chuck Norris, a figure synonymous with unwavering justice, observed his wife's growing concern with a quiet intensity. He held immense respect for Sarah's capabilities and was initially hesitant to intrude upon her professional domain. However, the persistent worries voiced by long-term, trusted employees, individuals who had witnessed the dealership's unwavering commitment to honesty over the years, began to erode his reluctance. Their accounts of subtle pressures to prioritize sales over ethical practices resonated with Chuck's own deeply ingrained moral compass. He saw the subtle strain etched on Sarah's face, the weight of responsibility she carried, and a protective instinct stirred within him. He resolved to uncover the truth, not as Chuck Norris, the legendary icon, but as an unassuming observer. He spent hours studying the dealership's website, memorizing employee profiles, and familiarizing himself with the latest sales promotions. He considered every detail of his Charlie persona, the slightly rumpled clothing, the hesitant handshake, the way he would adjust his glasses nervously. He even practiced conversations in front of the mirror, perfecting the art of appearing both interested and slightly bewildered. Yet, a knot of guilt tightened in his own stomach. Deceiving Sarah, even with the purest of intentions, felt like a betrayal of their deep bond. He wrestled with the ethical implications, the potential for misunderstanding, but the unwavering conviction that he needed to protect her and the dealership ultimately steeled his resolve. He would tread carefully, observe diligently, and act decisively only when the full truth was revealed. Chuck, a man whose actions typically spoke louder than words, found himself engaged in a more introspective battle. His trust in Sarah was absolute, yet the consistent thread of unease reported by those he knew to be reliable gnawed at his certainty. He watched Sarah navigate the mounting pressures, the late-night phone calls, the worried frown that often creased her brow. He sensed her struggle, the internal conflict between her desire to maintain profitability and her unwavering commitment to ethical practices. The subtle cues were everywhere. The slightly more aggressive advertising campaigns, the increased emphasis on sales quotas during staff meetings, the almost imperceptible shift in the salespeople's interactions with customers. Chuck, with his keen observational skills honed over years of discerning truth from deception, recognized the signs. He understood the pressure that could corrupt even the most well-intentioned individuals. His concern for Sarah, for the legacy of Norris Motors, and for the unsuspecting customers who might be taken advantage of, solidified his resolve. He would step into the shadows, a silent witness, to understand the true nature of the changes within his wife's business. The transformation was understated but effective. Chuck became Charlie, a retired schoolteacher, unassuming and seemingly easily trusting. Wire-rimmed glasses softened the intensity of his gaze. A slight stoop altered his commanding posture, and his voice adopted a more hesitant, questioning tone. As Charlie, he moved through the showroom, an invisible observer, his senses acutely attuned to the subtle nuances of each interaction. The initial atmosphere felt deceptively normal, a carefully constructed facade of helpfulness that Charlie's trained eye immediately began to perceive as brittle, strained. He would linger near the information desk, feigning confusion about different car models, his ears open to the interactions around him. He would strike up conversations with other customers in the waiting area, subtly probing their experiences with the dealership. He even spent time browsing the brochures, his eyes scanning the fine print, searching for any discrepancies or misleading claims. His unassuming demeanor made him virtually invisible, a harmless old man simply looking to purchase a car. Salespeople focused on younger, more affluent-looking prospects often dismissed him as a low-priority lead. This invisibility was his greatest asset, allowing him to observe the inner workings of the dealership without arousing suspicion. Chuck's undercover, and the lies are piling up. Talk about suspense. If this drama's got you hooked, smash that subscribe button to see what he uncovers. Hit the bell for more tales of truth. Join us now. Jessica, a rising star on the Norris Motors sales team, possessed a disarming charm that masked a sharp, ambitious drive. In her late 20s, she presented an image of polished professionalism, her every word and gesture carefully calibrated. When Charlie shuffled into the showroom, his apparent naivete signaled an opportunity. Jessica approached him with practiced warmth, her smile radiating confidence, her voice a soothing melody designed to build trust and guide him towards a profitable sale. However, beneath the surface of her affability, a subtle glint of calculation betrayed her true focus. She peppered their conversation with personal anecdotes, tales of satisfied customers and glowing reviews, all carefully crafted to build trust and establish a connection. She feigned a shared interest in his grandchildren, asking detailed questions about their ages and hobbies, subtly weaving these details into her sales pitch, suggesting vehicles that would be perfect for family outings and road trips. As they moved from one vehicle to another, Jessica expertly highlighted the features that she believed would appeal to an older, perhaps less knowledgeable buyer: comfortable seating, ease of entry and exit, and an array of safety features, often exaggerating their sophistication and necessity. She subtly dismissed Charlie's inquiries about fuel efficiency and long-term reliability, steering him towards vehicles with higher profit margins, emphasizing their prestige and status rather than their practicality. Her interactions with other staff members, however, revealed a different side of her personality. A curt exchange with a junior salesperson over a potential lead, a roll of her eyes when a customer expressed concerns about pricing, a clipped tone with a mechanic who questioned the condition of a trade-in. These fleeting glimpses hinted at a more calculating and less empathetic individual beneath the polished exterior. The crimson SUV gleamed under the showroom lights, an alluring prospect. Jessica's sales pitch was a carefully crafted narrative, exaggerating features and subtly misrepresenting the vehicle's history. When Charlie inquired about fuel efficiency, Jessica quoted figures that were wildly inaccurate. When he asked about prior ownership and maintenance, her assurances were smooth but contradicted the service records Chuck had already discreetly reviewed. The blatant lie, delivered with unwavering confidence, struck Chuck with the force of a physical blow. The contrast between Jessica's deceptive tactics and the dealership's long-standing reputation for integrity was impossible to ignore. The specific car she was trying to sell him was a slightly older model with higher mileage than she claimed. She pointed to standard cloth seats and called them premium upholstery, and she insisted the car had never been in an accident. Despite a visible repair line on the rear bumper that Chuck's trained eye immediately detected. As Charlie, Chuck became a meticulous observer, his unassuming demeanor allowing him to witness interactions that might otherwise have been concealed. He saw other salespeople employing similar techniques, their smiles often fading the moment a customer turned away. He utilized a small recording device, capturing conversations filled with half-truths and carefully omitted details. He discreetly photographed pricing sheets and warranty information, noting inconsistencies that pointed towards systemic deception. His notes grew thicker each day, documenting a pervasive culture where closing a deal, regardless of ethical implications, seemed to be the primary objective. The pressure appeared to stem from the top, with subtle encouragement from management to inflate prices and add unnecessary extras. Chuck's investigation extended beyond mere observation. He struck up conversations with disgruntled former customers in online forums, meticulously documenting their complaints and the specific instances of misleading information or unethical practices they had experienced at Norris Motors. He befriended a long-serving but disillusioned employee in the service department, who, under the guise of Charlie's friendly inquiries, provided him with copies of internal memos and emails that revealed the pressure from management to inflate repair costs and prioritize profitable services over genuine customer needs. He even feigned interest in purchasing a used vehicle, meticulously inspecting the car and comparing Jessica's sales pitch with the vehicle's actual history and condition, uncovering further instances of blatant misrepresentation. The evidence he compiled was becoming increasingly damning, a clear and irrefutable picture of a dealership that had strayed far from the ethical path laid down by its founder. The rot within Norris Motors was not just a few isolated incidents. It was a systemic issue, a cancer slowly consuming the integrity of the entire operation. The weekly sales meeting, usually a boisterous affair filled with competitive banter, held a palpable tension. As Mr. Henderson, the sales manager, concluded his motivational speech with a thinly veiled threat about meeting quotas, Charlie rose to his feet. The unassuming retiree vanished, replaced by the unmistakable presence of Chuck Norris. His voice, calm yet carrying an undeniable authority, cut through the stunned silence as he revealed his true identity and the evidence he had meticulously gathered. The shock on Jessica's face mirrored the disbelief of the entire sales team. The carefully constructed facade of normalcy shattered, revealing the rot beneath. Chuck's exposed the lies, and Sarah's stepping up. Goosebumps. If the showdowns got you fired up, hit subscribe to see justice served. Ring the bell for more epic tales. Don't miss what's next. Sarah, monitoring the meeting from her office, watched the unfolding drama with a whirlwind of emotions. The initial shock of Chuck's deception gave way to a cold realization of the betrayal she had unknowingly harbored within her own business. The evidence Chuck presented was irrefutable, a stark indictment of the unethical practices that had taken root under her watch. While a part of her felt a pang of hurt at Chuck's lack of initial trust, a stronger emotion surged to the forefront, a fierce determination to right the wrong. She emerged from her office, her voice clear and resolute, standing shoulder to shoulder with Chuck, ready to reclaim the integrity of Norris Motors. The immediate aftermath was decisive. Mr. Henderson was suspended, and several salespeople were swiftly dismissed. Sarah addressed the remaining staff, her disappointment palpable, but her commitment to change unwavering. She outlined a new era for Norris Motors, one built on transparency, honesty, and a renewed dedication to customer satisfaction. Comprehensive training programs emphasizing ethical sales practices were immediately implemented. Stricter guidelines with clear consequences for dishonesty were enforced. A new ethos began to take hold, slowly replacing the toxic culture of profit at all costs with a sense of pride in integrity. The story of Chuck Norris's undercover operation at his wife's car dealership became a media spectacle. News outlets, both local and national, ran the story as a tale of celebrity justice and corporate accountability. Social media platforms buzzed with opinions, ranging from outrage at the deceptive practices to admiration for Chuck and Sarah's decisive action. While Norris Motors weathered a storm of initial negative publicity, their swift and transparent response began to rebuild public trust, transforming the scandal into a testament to their commitment to ethical business practices. The world's watching, and Norris Motors is rising powerful. If this fight for truth's inspiring you, subscribe now for more stories of grit. Share. What's your hashtag Norris Truth moment? Hit the bell. Jessica, facing the harsh consequences of her actions, retreated into a world of shame and regret. The allure of high commissions and the subtle pressure from a win-at-all-costs environment had clouded her judgment. The public exposure forced a painful self-reflection, a confrontation with the ethical compromises she had made. The future remained uncertain, but the seeds of remorse hinted at a potential path toward redemption. In the ensuing years, Norris Motors underwent a profound transformation. Chuck and Sarah's unwavering commitment to ethical practices became the cornerstone of their business model. They actively fostered a supportive and transparent work environment, prioritizing customer relationships and long-term trust over short-term gains. The dealership not only recovered but thrived, its reputation for honesty becoming its most valuable asset. The story of Chuck Norris's undercover investigation became a local legend, a reminder that integrity, even when challenged, could ultimately prevail, solidifying the Norris legacy as one built on unwavering principles and genuine care for the community. Norris Motors is reborn, and Oak Haven's cheering epic. If you're loving this redemption, subscribe for more tales of justice. Share. What's your honest win? Hit the bell to stay with us.